Wait a minute. You're not Jody Williams.
Much better looking.
So Jody is away, ladies and gentlemen. So we are the Can-Am Connection. So I had to find another American. And after I had asked 15 or 16, no, I'm just kidding. My first choice said yes, of course. So Kody Merritt, how are you doing, brother?
I'm actually doing pretty good. I have the day off today. Matter of fact, I took the day off today just so I could do this.
No shit.
Well, I have a few other things I wanted to do as well.
Yeah, that's a nice thing you got in the background there. A couple of gold medals from WAF.
Well, yeah, it's got 2 of my 3 on there. I actually gave one of them to my sponsor as well. So,
wow, a gold medal to a sponsor.
Yep,
that's crazy. That's amazing. I mean,
I gave him the Masters gold medal.
Okay,
and I kept the senior for myself.
Now, did you know that I've had COVID for the past week?
I heard tell that you got COVID. Yeah. I didn't realize someone as strong and tough as you could ever be afflicted by such a weak bug.
Well, mosquitoes still land on us, buddy.
Well, that's true.
Doesn't matter how big and bad you are. Now, that being said, Dan Woodley asked the question in the chat already. Negative test, question mark? Well, here's the thing, Dan. You need to test within 24 hours of your flight and get that negative test. So I don't have a negative test yet. I fly out on Thursday morning. The issue is now, is it going to come back negative? Now, there is a Walmart in town with a pharmacy that does a really piss poor test, which I'm kind of relying on them to provide me that negative test so I can get out of here and go pull Corey on the weekend. That being said, my wife is now very sick, so it's up in the air, man. I would say I'm very optimistic that we'll get down there and get this match done, but I don't know, man.
So if Victoria is still testing positive, are you going to go without, or are you? What's the plans there?
We'd have to have a discussion. I mean, it's gonna at that point, it's gonna kind of be up to her. If she says go, then I'll go. If she says don't go, then I won't go. But
well, if I know her at all, she's going to tell you to go.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Jolene would do the very exact same thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm still optimistic. You know, getting sick 2 weeks before your match is not ideal, but I don't think it's killed my strength at all. So, if anything, it probably has affected my stamina.
I would agree with that, for sure.
But it's only the best out of 5. So if I haven't finished Corey off in 3, I'm probably not winning it anyway.
I would have said that with or without COVID, to be honest with you.
What's that?
If you don't finish him quickly, he probably wins that match.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And now someone's at my door.
Well, sounds like they got a greeting committee.
They did. They'll think twice about coming in. Well, we're here today. We're going to talk about these upcoming matches. So let's blast through the Texas Arm Wrestling League matches first.
Okay.
If you're okay with that.
I am fine. Then, I don't have a list in front of me, so you're going to have to
I got them. I got you. So Fox 8 Ball is happy to see you. Warren Kernot's in the chat. Phil, Health Work. Phil back in there. Arm Wrestling Fan. Hello, Big Boy 1 and 2. Awesome.
You're number 1. I can tell that just by.
We just need Corey West in here, and then we'll be 2 and 3.
Yeah, that would put a whole new meaning to 3 as a crowd.
Yeah. We got let's get into these. Left-handed match. Brandon El Cesar versus Jonathan Breda. Now that's an interesting one for me. Jonathan looked really good against
Jordan
Sill, yeah. And Brandon, well, he looked amazing against Travis. But has he pulled since Travis?
Well, maybe not a big match that I'm aware of. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
No, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that probably I'm going to take, man, that's a tough one to call.
Well, so Brandon's been looking good a lot. This last year, he's looked really, really good, beating a lot of people. The thing that Breida really surprised me against Jordan, because I know how strong Jordan is. I also know how good Breida is too, but Breida's really been working hard. That's a tough one to call. With Brandon, I mean, beating Travis has made a lot of people look really good lately.
That's true.
So I tend to wonder exactly where Travis was in that match, but even without the Travis match, Brandon's been just kicking people's butts. He also beat Jordan last year.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes it even more complicated now.
Yeah.
Let's I'm going to say, man, I don't even know. Like, this is the type of prediction where I'll throw it out there and I would never bet money on it. It could be a 3-2 either way. I'll say Breida.
See, I like Breida a lot. I would consider him one of my friends. Matter of fact, he actually has one of my flame arm warmers that I wore at the World Championship that I gifted to him. He seemed that it was he really wanted it badly, so I surprised him and sent it to him when I had new ones made. But he's a good kid. I like Jonathan a lot. He actually approached me about having a left-handed match with Krasny when he was here in town. When Krasny pulled Corey, I just wasn't able to take the match because my arm was giving me issues. Same reason we weren't able to have the match between you and I.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Brandon's a little bit taller, got a little bit longer lever. Oh, I actually think Brandon might win that match. So I'm gonna go against you on this one. Not that I don't care for Jonathan, because I really like Jonathan a lot. Brandon seems to have a lot of tools that might put him in a winning position.
Yeah. Well, and then we go on. So let's put that one to rest because we got a ton of matches to cover. Okay. Caleb Ricks versus Andrei Sharkovich, left-handed.
So I know Andrei. Seen him pull a couple of times. Saw him in Florida, and then again at Washington State last December. But the other guy, I don't even know who it is. So I'm going to have to go with the Shark because
I too will go with the Shark. And because for the exact same reasons, and apologies to Caleb, but I mean, that's why you're pulling this match, is to make a name for yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe your opportunity is now.
I saw the Shark and Brandon have a war in Washington.
Yeah.
So he's a good arm wrestler.
Now, Caleb comes in here and beats him. We'll definitely know who Caleb is.
Yes, we will.
Yeah. And that's his opportunity. David from the chat here just meant, and we'll bring this up later. Remind me of this. He says, okay. Well, you should just pull up from Corey and pull Devin in Quebec. Interesting thought. Because Devin threw out a super match opportunity left-handed with 6 days notice that he's going to be at some festival in Quebec City. But all right, next is Dimitri Kachin versus Brandon Alcessor, right-handed.
Oh, goodness gracious. Dimitri's the one that gave John a struggle a few months back, right?
Yes, he is. I don't know if I fully appreciated just how good these matchups are.
Yeah, that's a good event. Already sounds really good.
Yeah.
Shoot. I'm gonna say Dimitri just because I saw what he did with John, and about that same time, John was manhandling Jordan. And when Jordan went and pulled Brandon, he pulled him right and left-handed, and Brandon and Jordan were pretty evenly matched.
Yeah. It's a tough one, man. It is a tough one. I'll take Brandon just because it's a crowd. It's a coin toss for me.
Okay.
That's it.
That's the only matches there in Texas?
Oh, there's two more big ones here.
Okay.
Now this next one is
I was going to say there should be some more that I'm aware of.
well, there's Corey West versus Ryan Espy, left-handed.
Ryan who?
Yeah, some guy, some Canadian.
He doesn't sound from the USA. I don't know if he'd be any good at all.
Some bum from Canada they're bringing in. So face off against the Gorilla.
Oh, you want my opinion on this one?
Yep, because you know my opinion.
I hate when two good friends arm wrestle each other. I hate predicting a winner out of two good friends because I don't want to piss anybody off. But I am very, very interested in this match, believe it or not. I would love to see where it turns out. I have pulled Corey on two separate occasions. Both times he felt like a freak of nature. He doesn't start very quickly. So I really believe that you have the advantage when it comes to the start. However, if he stops you, I think that is a bad day for you. That's my honest opinion. I think that you can probably get the win because of the starts, but if he stops you, I think Corey wins. So,
okay, the show is over.
So what I'm saying is my guess or my pick is you, Ryan. I think you win the match because of your starts. That's my honest opinion. But if he stops the match, I really believe that he wins it.
Yes. Now, that's fun. I think that I appreciate that. And that is the plan, is, of course, speed kills. And the path of least resistance is to just pin him as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing here, we got a round robin. And this one puzzles me.
Hold it. You didn't give your prediction.
Well, Ryan Espy, 3-0.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's the easiest one I made yet today.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Anyway, the next one is the one that it really intrigues me a little bit because the one thing is Danny actually wrote me a message and said Wayne Withers wants a right-handed super match with you. And I thought, well, I'm not pulling right arm because my right is, in the toilet right now.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, why aren't they throwing him in as a fourth person in this round robin event? Because right now they've got three. They got Corey West, Robbie Burnett, and Mega Mike.
Yeah.
Now, I don't really know if it's going to make too much of a difference who matches up with who in the first rounds. And I don't really know much about Mega Mike. I mean, his nickname sticks in your head. But,
so I have arm wrestled Mega Mike.
Yeah.
I arm wrestled him last year in Hawthorne, exactly a year ago. In the tournament, he and I met on the A-side bracket. I was able to pin him the first time. He came back to the B-side after beating, who did he win for? I can't remember who took third, but he got back to the championship match. The first match in the championship, he beat me. Then I had to adjust and win the second of the two. So I did beat him 2 of 3 times in a tournament setting. I was faster than him, but once he sets a hook, he could drag me right back.
Okay.
So he is incredibly strong in a hook. I don't know if he's Corey West strong in a hook, though. That's going to be a challenge.
Well, that'll be interesting because I think Robbie is pretty good with a top roll.
Yeah, that's Robbie's game. He's a high posting top roller with a short arm, and he's really good at it.
Yeah. which could make things interesting, even with Corey.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, you would have to assume that there's going to be a power differential there. But I'm not going to just say that Corey wins this automatically, because I think Robbie Burnett might be the most underrated arm wrestler in the United States.
Yep. First time I faced Robbie Burnett right-handed, he destroyed me. He's a strong dude, and he's got a really good hand.
Yeah. I pulled him at practice last August when I was down in Texas.
Yeah.
And he is strong. There's no other way to slice it. His hand is good. He has wins over, like, when Chance Shaw, people started talking about how good he was. They forgot that Robbie had beat him twice in a tournament not that long ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Robbie gets left out of that conversation, maybe because of inactivity. But, man, I don't count him out. I mean, Corey is the favorite for sure to win this little round robin.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly on the three-way. I've never understood why you do a three-way round robin. It just seems like a complete disadvantage to whoever gets the first match.
Mm-hmm.
I would very much be disappointed if Corey is the one that has a first round bye, because I truly believe Corey's the favorite in that match. And for Robbie and Mike to have a match to begin with, that just, to me, it seems completely unfair.
Yeah. And hopefully the format is the winner goes on. So the guy that wins will face the fresh guy and so on and so forth. But if it's a true round robin, then they're all going against each other twice.
Yeah. And that's what I believe it is.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think Corey's just got too much power for both of them. I think you could line them up one after the other, and Corey wins both of those matches. But you're right. Of the two competitors, I think that Robbie probably has the better chance against Corey just because of his style.
Yes. Mega Mike's going to go straight into a hook with Corey West. I think that's a bad day.
Yeah.
Just going power for power when you don't have as much of it, man, it just seems foolhardy to me. But if that's your move, then that's what you're going to do.
Robbie's actually pretty fast as well on the ready go. And from what I remember about Mike, he's more of a catching hook puller. He's not a real explosive starter. And I think Robbie is going to get the edge on Mega Mike for that very reason. That's how I beat Mega Mike, was starting fast. If we were to slow pull, I think he would destroy me.
Yeah. So Joe Nello, I want to bring up a comment he made. This is kind of an unrelated thing. He says, Ryan Who, the guy got stalked by a guy who nicknamed himself after a bear. That's still happening, Joe. That guy is still talking about me on his social
the Kodiak guy?
Yeah.
I haven't seen one of his videos in years.
Well, only 3 people have seen them anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
He sure looked like he was training hard to beat you. You were a big motivation for him.
But then I saw some footage where he was, he couldn't beat the guys he was practicing with Jeff Frank's crew. Like, couldn't even come close to them. And I know it's practice, but there should be at least, some bite he can get on the guys he's pulling in his local town.
Yeah.
Before he starts trying to go after. And
then Ryan Espy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going after Matt Mask too. He's talking about calling out Matt Mask. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
If you can't win locally or provincially, and then we had an agreement. I said, I'm never pulling you in another super match. And he said,
so you guys did face each other in a super match?
A couple of times.
Oh, really?
And then he showed up to a nationals, and I beat him there too.
Sounds like you're just a bully.
Yeah, I am. Joe Nello says Jeff Frank toyed with him. He was red line, arm break position, etc. I'm like, there you go. So there you go. We had an agreement that Kodiak was just going to come to nationals and we'd pull there. Pull in the Masters, we'd pull in the Open, whatever. But then he'd also have to pull everyone else, like Pork Chop and all those guys. So
yeah.
But he didn't show up to his provincials. So now that's not going to happen.
So you have to go to provincials? I thought you guys could pay a fee to get into nationals or even go to provincials.
You can. Each province does it a little bit differently. So
okay,
show up, pay an arm. But I mean, I'm sure there is a path, but he just doesn't seem interested. And there's really no reason for him to not go to his provincials.
Yeah.
British Columbia, the way it's set up is, everything it's spread out, but it's also like nothing's going to be a 10-hour drive for him. He could have been there.
I actually really, really appreciate the organization that Canadian Arm Wrestling has with their provincials and nationals.
Only nationals.
Yeah. That's the thing that frustrates me a lot with the USA and their like there's states that have multiple state championships. Like Utah has 2 state championships because the guy down in southern Utah decided he wanted to start an arm wrestling tournament and call it state championship. And he gets like 30 people show up to that state championship, and I didn't even know about it for years.
Just call it the Worlds. Call it the World Championship.
Yeah, well, just as well.
Well, now we got to get into the other event that's happening. It's not quite at the same level as the Texas Arm Wrestling League event.
No, I'm sure not.
No, but you can buy it on pay-per-view for $13.99 American, and it's probably worth every penny of that. I
do plan on buying it.
Well, I will also buy it, and I will buy it and watch it. And I'm really hoping that I can. Okay, if the worst case scenario happens and I'm sitting at home, I'll be watching this. If I go, I'll buy it when I get home and I'll watch the feed and try to stay off social media.
Yeah.
To avoid all the spoilers. But let's talk about some of these matches. And guys, I'm inevitably going to miss some of these because I can't just find a list where they all are.
Ingen posted one this morning on the Facebook, I thought.
Well, let's have a look now.
Oh, sorry. You know what? He actually posted the one in August, the next one coming up of the matches he has set for that one. Sorry, it wasn't the right one. My bad.
Yeah. So I find that if you go there, it's like you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and then you find Irakli versus Todd Hutchings on a poster.
Yeah.
The more you find, Matt Mask versus, Morozov on a poster. So you can't just find a list. Even on the Core Sports site, there is a list, but it has 6 of the matches listed, and then it says, and more.
And more.
So, and we know there's more because, well, let's just go on the list that's on this site. So let's talk about Chafee and Gennady Kvikvinya.
Okay. I love Dave Chafee. One of the most genuine dudes you'll ever meet. I actually have never met, I have met Gennady in passing in Turkey at Worlds. He was there helping coach.
He was a little bit standoffish, wasn't
he? He seemed like he wanted to be approached, but then was kind of not approachable type of person.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Anyway, when I went to Romania to the Worlds there, he was very friendly, said hi and all that kind of stuff. But like we've never really talked. But he seems like a good dude for sure. And they're both super strong. Gennady has a ton of different tricks. He's kind of a tricky bastard when it comes to arm wrestling. And Dave is just pure power, like everybody knows. I just don't know if Gennady's strong enough to match Dave's power. But he has a bunch of tools to work on it.
Agreed. I think Dave is going to be too much still because it's a rematch.
That's what I hope it is. I would like to see Dave win that because the West isn't winning near enough of these East versus West matches.
Yeah. Gennady looks really confident, but I think we all forgot about how strong Dave Chafee is recently.
I have not forgotten. He is a bad dude.
And I think he's going to win.
I would tend to agree. I if I were given a percentage, I would probably say like a 60-40 Dave would be my guess.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Then we go in. I'll just keep going in order. And for me, This one is super interesting, and it's a bit of an underdog story. Matt Mask versus Evgeny Prudnik. Right-handed.
Right-handed. I've never met Prudnik. I've actually been chatting with him a little bit on social media the last week or so because I think he's hilarious.
He's an opera singer, man. I mean, what an interesting guy.
Yeah. Doesn't he drive truck too?
I thought it was Vitaly that drove truck.
That's Vitaly. You're right. You're right. Yeah, so he is an opera singer. But he's funny. He's really funny in press conferences. And I think Matt has been on a bit of a slump lately. He's not winning as many matches as I think he should be winning. I really thought he had beat Tim Bresnan, to be honest with you. That was a surprising match for me.
That was an upset. Nope. Either I lost you or you lost me. There he is.
There?
Yeah.
Okay, that was weird. Did you just go dead for a minute too?
Well, you just froze on my screen there.
Oh, so it was me. Yeah, I just went like into a thinking mode there, which I don't think very often. So that was weird.
Well,
so my money is on Prudnik. As I love Matt Massey, he's one of my favorite arm wrestlers, but I just don't know that he can beat Prudnik.
Well, Prudnik should win the match, okay? And I think that's the general consensus. Now, that being said, Matt also knows that. He knows he's not supposed to win. He's probably got no pressure going into this match.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a bad spot to be in. I mean, going in against him, that's a much different scenario where everyone expects you to win. You know, anything different, like if there's a shutout stake on you, all that stuff. It's a lot of pressure. I don't think Matt's going to have any pressure going into this one. I think he can relax, have fun, you know, pick apart whatever he can pick apart in Prudnik's game if there is a hole, because, you know, I don't really think there is. I think he is a bad man and a tough match for anyone on the planet.
I am interested to see if Matt can roll Prudnik's wrist.
Yeah.
Because Matt has got phenomenal pronation, like probably one of the best in the world. And I would love to see if he can actually – I'd love to see him pull Prudnik right out of a hook with his wrist like he's done with Devin in the past. That would impress me. That would be super cool to see.
Yeah, I agree. John Berzink.
Who?
John Berzink.
Oh, that guy.
That guy.
He's just old.
Versus Zurab, the guy that Ron Bath had that amazing match with.
I heard Ingan say that Zurav said he's 50% stronger than when he pulled Ron
Bullshit he is.
Like 50% stronger. I've never been 50% anything better.
You must have, like, I don't know of any drugs in the world that can make you 50% stronger in that window of time. If there is, tell us what it is.
Well, but even in that, like, even if it were like 5 years, 50% is a huge amount.
And Zurab looked like a goddamn tank in that Ron Bath match.
Yeah, his biceps are enormous.
Yeah.
And he has a ton of endurance, which was very surprising to me.
For me, this one is a one-sided. I think John's just going to do whatever he wants.
I agree with you. I really do. Zurab and Ron had a war. Even if he's 10% stronger, I don't think that's enough for John.
No, I don't think so. Not at the stage that John is at, which, you know, John goes from, you know, retirement and saying he's done with arm wrestling forever to all of a sudden being a Renaissance man, and he's back and he's like looking like a specimen again. And here he is, John Berzink, the man. The legend is back, and he's going to beat Zurab.
I've pulled John twice since he came out of retirement, and both times, the second time he felt much stronger than the first time, and the first time I thought he was ridiculous. So, he's an impressive person for sure.
Yeah. All right. Michael Todd versus Revaz. And if I'm getting your names wrong, well, that's just how it goes.
Well, you're feeling pretty confident those guys are actually watching you.
Well, if you look at our, if we were going to our demographic, it's mostly North America and India.
Oh, India. You got something, some kind of a liking for the Indian people, huh?
I do.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. Well, it's the other way around.
They've got a liking for you. Well, you don't say.
Yeah.
I
don't know much about Revaz, but something said he felt like he was, compromised some way in strength. But
if it's who is he a Georgian?
I think so.
Okay, so if it's who I think it is, when we were in Turkey for the World Championship, in the open class, dog's okay?
They're fighting.
Oh, okay. In the open class, what's that?
I just found out who won.
Oh, there you go. In the open class, if you remember, Levon pulled another Georgian, and that Georgian was tall, but he wasn't as big as Levon, and he actually compromised Levon's wrist at one point. I thought he was going to win the match, but Levon was able to recuperate and bring him back. I think that's who this is. So he's no slouch.
Oh. Armwrestling fan says it's Levon's buddy. So
yeah, I really believe. Like I watched that match, and I can't remember if it was right or left-handed. I think it was right-handed, and he actually just loaded backwards, and Levon went sideways, and Levon's wrist compromised. Levon felt it, regrouped a couple times. He had to kind of fatigue the guy, but he was able to basically side pressure him down. But it was a close match. It wasn't like Levon destroyed him.
Well, that makes this interesting. The other thing that kind of makes it interesting is Michael and Rebecca are kind of on this, and they are dear friends of mine. I love them, but Michael is on this kick of trying to be like super ripped and in shape again.
Yeah.
So that's not always conducive to strength.
Yeah.
Anyone that has been able to successfully do it in the past, it's Michael.
Yeah.
But it might be a factor.
I actually am waiting for the age when Michael says, hey, I'm not the strongest I've ever been in my life. Because no matter how old he gets, it just seems like that's what he says. I'm stronger now than I ever was before, which is amazing to me that he's almost 50 years old and can still say that. It's impressive.
It is. And here's the I want to bring this up just as not really even related to that, but someone had made a comment, and I've seen the narrative that Engen is stacking the deck against the West. And the matches we've gone through so far.
Yeah, I don't believe that's the case.
Really say that.
I honestly, I would be surprised of the ones we've just talked about if the West doesn't win those matches. Now, for this match with Michael Todd, this guy seems like an unknown name to a lot of people. I wouldn't think that's stacking the deck against Michael Todd.
No.
Now, I've seen this guy arm wrestle, and he is a good arm wrestler.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the case.
I mean, what are you going to do about it? I mean, you're putting Michael Todd in there. I mean, it doesn't really matter who you pick. You can't really, unless it's Levon. I mean, what are you going to do? Say they're stacking the deck against Michael?
Yeah. And in all reality, if you ask Michael, he wants to be the best. So he's not going to – he wants to pull the best arm wrestlers. He doesn't want to pull some chump from wherever.
Well, if I know Michael as well as I think I do, yeah. I think if Engen would have said, hey, in 3 months, do you want to pull Levon? He'd say yes.
Yes, he would. He would say yes in a heartbeat. Because Michael, deep down inside, believes he has a lane no matter what.
Yeah, he does think that.
Yeah.
We got a super chat. Carolyn Looms. Carolyn Looms jumps in here and says, $2 super chat says, hey, y'all. Ryan, did you after pull with Derek? I did not. Did
Derek even after pull right-handed at all?
I don't think he did. And I think the reason for that was because he had that thing coming up with Michael and Brandon Allen.
Yeah.
They were filming for YouTube the next couple of days after that. So I don't think Derek pulled anyone afterwards, Carolyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think Derek's being very particular or choosy about who he grips up with right-handed.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure he would have pulled me left-handed, but my left was blown up a little bit.
Yeah.
Arm wrestling fans, Reva says he wants to beat Levan. Train to beat Levan. Okay. Nice.
Well, he knows. I mean, I'm sure that the people you train with regularly know your weaknesses.
Yes.
It's the same with me. Like, that's why I love arm wrestling with with Jordan Sill, because he knows where my weaknesses are, and he knows how to magnify them or bring them out. And it is I'm more worried about pulling Jordan in matches, like in tournaments, than most any other person, because I know how strong he is, and he knows me inside and out, so he knows where to attack.
Yeah, that's cool. Ready for the next one?
Yes, sir.
This one is probably the one I'm most intrigued by, I would say, of this whole card. Barbosa versus Angrabayev.
I thought that actually Angrabayev had to back out of that one.
You know what? You might be right. And Marcio has a different opponent now. That's right.
I want to say he's pulling Tobias right-handed.
The deck got shuffled because Derek's in there now, and chat, I need your help. Who's Derek pulling each arm, and who's Marcio pulling each arm? And while they answer that, let's talk about Todd Hutchings versus Irakli.
Now, is Irakli and Todd, have they pulled in the past? He's not the one that beat Todd like last year, is he?
I don't remember.
No, that was the one that John beat at the last East versus West.
Yeah.
Irakli is also a Georgian, and I watched some of his after polling at the last East versus West, and he was toying with a lot of people. Of course, those people had just arm wrestled, and he did not.
Yeah.
But he looks super strong, and he trains with Levon as well.
Okay. Well,
He's
Todd,
taller than Todd. He's taller than Todd, and he likes to back pressure, high hand back pressure, hammer curl type stuff.
Yeah.
Todd actually likes arm wrestling, taller arms, and he doesn't care about his hands. So all that stuff that Irakli is good at, Todd doesn't really care about.
Gotcha.
But I don't. That's an interesting match for me. In regard,
I'm not betting against Todd Hutchings at the moment, so
he's on fire.
He just seems too strong, and another guy one of these guys going to get old.
Yeah. Well, I don't like to bet at all, but I wouldn't bet on Todd against this match either, because Irakli is an impressive person. I'm just interested to watch it.
Yeah, it'll be fun either way. That's a day of arm wrestling that you can just.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the time difference when this will start, it might be an afternoon or a morning of arm wrestling. Then we got, now we're jumping into the ones that aren't listed here. So we got Morozov versus Matt Mask left-handed.
Yeah. I'm actually interested in that match as well.
I am too. But when you had your match scheduled with Morozov and pulled out of it, and then I saw him pull
Tobias.
And I thought, I think Kody would have crushed this guy. This is what I thought.
I actually felt the exact same thing. I was in the car with my wife. We were actually driving to our friend's house to watch the event, but we were behind schedule, and we watched that in the car, and I was pissed.
Yeah.
I watched that match, and I really felt like I would have won that match.
I felt the exact same thing, and I thought, that would have actually probably been a bad match for him. I thought it would have been pretty one-sided, to be honest. Now, Matt Mask is not known for his left hand.
No, but he's no slouch.
He's no slouch. He's not known for it. Now, this could be a closer match than people are predicting, because right now, I think that if you did a poll on both those matches, Matt comes out as a heavy underdog on both of them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think he may actually have a better chance left-handed against Morozov than he does right-handed against Prudnik.
If you watch the last match with Morozov against Tobias, Tobias actually won. It was 3-1 for Morozov. And what Tobias did to beat him was take his hand.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Matt does really well, right and left-handed.
Yep.
He pronates into your wrist and fingers so hard that it's really hard to maintain that.
Yep.
And if Morozov has any weaknesses, or at one time he was saying he had an injury in his wrist, if that's the case, Matt will exploit it big time.
Yeah. Now, Carolyn made an interesting comment here. She says, I wonder what Irakli's endurance is, since he hangs with Levon and Juice kills endurance. I'm not sure if that's a true statement. Depends what they're taking.
Yeah.
But I mean, those guys...
I mean, the Juice doesn't kill endurance. Look at Lance Armstrong.
Yeah, it depends what you're doing, how you're training, and what you're taking.
Yeah.
Like it's I think it's gonna be just fine.
Yeah. If I don't know this or not, but I can't imagine. This is probably not something I should say. I can't imagine Todd being as big as he does and as strong as he does without some supplemental help. And he's got tons of endurance. So I don't know if that's a true statement at all.
Yeah. I mean, if these guys really want to get crazy, there's guys in the chat talking about EPO. That will offset any endurance loss, that's for sure.
I don't even know what is EPO.
Oh, it's a whole other show, Kody.
Okay.
It's a whole other show.
We'll talk about it another time.
Things that a couple of the guys in the UFC got busted for it. It was it's a whole thing. It increases your red blood cell count. Now, all right, we're on to Marcio versus Tobias.
So it is Tobias then.
That's what the chat is saying.
That's what I thought it was.
It's Sprong, and then Derek's going to pull Morozov right-handed by the looks of it.
So left-handed is Marcio and Tobias, or right-handed?
I think it's right-handed, but we could be getting this all mixed up.
So I know that Tobias is better left-handed than he is right-handed. And I think that Marcio's just the opposite. Marcio's a little better right-handed than he is left-handed. He's pretty well-rounded.
Yeah.
But I would say his right hand's probably more dominant than his left is. And I think that if it is right-handed, Marcio it probably will beat Tobias, would be my guess. If it's left-handed, that could be a different situation. But Marcio's good left-handed too. It's hard to bet against Marcio ever.
I'd say if they pull both arms, Marcio takes both. I just think he's too strong right now, and he's another guy that just doesn't seem to ever get old.
Yeah, and he's
better now than he did 10 years ago.
And he's got tons of different weapons. He's not afraid to go anywhere.
Yeah.
The bad thing, I think the disadvantage that Marcio will have, Tobias is what, 6'6" or something like that. And Marcio has had a tendency in the past to float his elbow a little bit. And with a taller arm, that might be something that I would hate to see him lose in fouls. And it is a stricter arm wrestling refereeing for sure.
Yeah. And that will take us to Derek versus,
Morozov?
Yeah, right-handed.
Well, the last outing, Morozov got destroyed by Prudnik. And Derek is looking like a freak right now, a monster. So I think that Derek's they're going to be about the same height. Derek might be an inch or so taller. So arm length should be comparable. And Derek's really good at that, like staying on top of his hand and like doing a controlled top roll from a tall position, which I think is going to be in his benefit against Morozov.
And then he said Derek's going to pull the first match, then go to commentary, is what Justin says here. So I mean, Derek will probably take the match. There's also Prudnik versus Sporong left, so it's not Marcio.
So Marcio's pulling him right-handed then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that my money goes on Marcio that time, in that situation.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of the end of it, Kody. I think we've gone through all of them. Now, the other thing going on here is anyone that said this is stacked against the West, I think is mistaken. I think the West is actually going to win this one.
I would tend to agree with you. I do think that the West has a pretty good opportunity in this event for sure.
Yeah, I do too. And man, hopefully it all goes well.
Yeah.
Well, my man.
So you're headed to Texas this weekend. I'm going to Hawthorne, Nevada.
Yep.
Both events the Texas one's going to have a huge card. Hawthorne has a pretty decent card as well, and they always have a really good turnout. So if you're anywhere near either one of these two events, come hang out. Hawthorne is a fun tournament to be at. It's the littlest town in the middle of Nevada, and they just basically have their town celebration, and come check it out. Buck Hall and Billy Williams always do an amazing job putting together a great event. And as does the Texas Arm Wrestling League.
I almost forgot.
Yeah.
There are super matches at this event.
There are, yeah.
So let's just go through those. There's only 3 I have on here. But I remember taking a screenshot of this because I wanted to cover it too. So let's just quickly blast through these. I don't know who these lightweight guys are. Oh, I know. I recognize them. Ole
Moises or something like that.
Eli Sadov. Don't know these guys.
So Oleg is living in California. He's Eastern European, Georgian, or Russian. I can't remember which of the two. Super impressive arm wrestler. Very competitive. And it's Eli. What's the last name of Eli?
Sadov.
I think he's a Western, like Washington or Oregon, West Coast stuff. He's pretty good. Is it left-handed?
Well, that's the great thing about these posters is they never really specify.
Okay.
I have the 2 guys.
My money's probably going to go on Oleg. He's been looking really good lately. And he comes from an arm wrestling background in Eastern Europe for sure.
And I don't have a prediction on this one because I don't really know any of them, so I would just be saying a name. But we also got reminded about a couple other matches. But let's jump into Jamie Sheldon versus AJ Henson. I assume this is a right-handed match.
It is right-handed.
Jamie going way up in weight for this.
Well, I don't think so because AJ sits around 205, 210. He doesn't ever really get much bigger than that.
Yeah.
And right now, Jamie's been like 195, 200. So I think that it's probably going to be around the 200-pound weight class. And AJ is a very underestimated arm wrestler. I think it's just because he's so humble and doesn't put himself out there very much. He works hard and does his cowboy lifestyle, hunting lifestyle, and doesn't really spend a lot of time out and about arm wrestling like some of us do. And obviously people know Jamie because he's trying to sling some powders and stuff and doing really well at that. So
I like how you put that.
I mean, he's been pretty successful in building a business. Like, he's done a really good job. And I love both of these people. AJ is super explosive, and I think AJ might have the edge on this match because of his explosivity.
I agree. I think AJ wins, but it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. Jamie's a great arm wrestler. He's a phenomenal arm wrestler, so it's going to be a fun match.
And then we got a match that has rankings implications for us, left-handed super heavyweight guys.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Tomlinson versus Robbie Topi.
Yeah. I spent the weekend with Robbie Topi, actually. And he is feeling pretty confident right now. He said his left is super strong. He's after his match with Paul Passmore a few weeks ago, he's just felt like really good in his training, and he seems really positive right now.
That's
I
nice.
pulled Tony in November, and Tony always feels good. Tony's not as explosive as Robbie, and I've got to give the edge to Robbie in this match. But Tony's a very good arm wrestler and a good guy too.
Well, Robbie should have the edge, but I'm going to say that Tony pulls out the upset.
Ooh. There you go.
There you go. Now, we got pointed out a couple matches we forgot.
Okay.
Arif versus Krasi apparently is coming up.
Oh, Arif and Krasi are at the East versus West as well. That's true.
They said it happens. Well, there's some talk about it might be at Arm Wars, but
oh, really?
There are a couple matches at East versus West that we definitely forgot. Paul Lynn versus DeVitt.
David DeVitt?
Yeah.
Is it right or left-handed?
I would have to think it's a right-handed match.
Because if I know, I'm trying to remember. There's a David DeVitt that I arm wrestled in Romania at the World Championship in 2019, and he felt really good left-handed. He's an Armenian, and he's kind of underassuming. You look at him and you wouldn't think he's a great arm wrestler, but he felt super strong. And I think that's this guy. I didn't happen to see how well he did right-handed, but Paul Lynn's pretty good both arms, but I think his right is by far his better one. So
this is DeVitt Samushia right-handed is what they say.
Did they say where he's from by chance?
Georgia.
If then it's not the guy I'm thinking of then.
Yeah.
Then I honestly don't know who it is and what to expect then.
So Arif versus Krasi is at East versus West.
I know that Arif has beaten Krasi 2 or 3 times. Krasi has not beaten him at all.
And then Krasi coming off of a win at the Europeans, I think.
Left-handed in the 100 kilo class, yes.
And a loss previous to that to Corey West.
Right-handed, yes.
Yes. And
this is a right-handed match, not a left-handed match.
I believe so.
Yeah. Because Krasi didn't pull right-handed at the Europeans for this match. He wanted to make sure he was still available.
Yeah. So there you go. I think that the trend will continue, and that Krasi will still be unable to defeat him.
Okay, I think so as well. Krasi's impressive. I just think Arif is just too big of a person, too big of a human being for him.
Yeah. Krasi has made a career out of beating super heavyweight guys and big guys, but, I don't think at this stage he's going to be able to get this one.
Yeah.
Anyway, that should put a bow on this one, Kody. If we missed any, we apologize, but we did our best with the info we have.
Well, and I'm not super good at knowing a lot of names. I'm actually kind of terrible at it. I apologize about that. But I do really appreciate the opportunity coming on and talking with you, Ryan. I always enjoy this when you invite me to do this stuff. So anytime you need me, let me know.
Right on, man. I appreciate you coming on. And we probably will be back with Jody next week. But,
now that guy, he gets all the luck.
All right, my friend. Thanks again. And thanks you guys for watching. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and talk to you guys soon.
Hey, good luck this weekend. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, bye-bye.